Now there's sound.
Sorry, that bothers me.
Now there should be sound. How is what off? Oh,
Oh,
you're...
I'm one off on this. I know we're cutting the ends, but part of me just wants to go back and...
Go back and just fix it because it's not what you want?
Yeah, because it's one off. Like, it needs to be over one.
Oh, right.
Does that make sense?
Well,
Because I'm over
you're going to
one
sew over
here.
the corner.
I know, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
But
Okay.
I'm off and it bothers me. Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine. Hello, welcome to my, oh, darn, we're streaming. I didn't realize that. I mean, I was planning on streaming, but you know, there was a point in time not long ago where I remember having to click start stream on the YouTube, and apparently these last couple times that isn't happening. I'm just trying to set it up to make sure I've got signal, and we're going. So, hey, we're going. Welcome to, I guess, the pre-show.
Hi, internet strangers.
Hello from internet strangers. To try and combat some of the microphone problems we had last weekend, if you remember that, because we were both wearing a microphone, but it's going into separate channels into the camera. Today, I'm the only one wearing a microphone, so I've got a wire on. She does not. I'll just try to hang out close to her so you can hear us both.
Yep.
Should work. She may sound a little more hollow because it's the way mics work. It's not pointed at her.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, hi. By the way, I'm nearsighted and I have to wear glasses. Typically, I don't wear them during my videos because too often there was reflection of the lights in my glasses. Is there now? No, it's not too bad, is it? No, yeah, it's there. So that's, I usually just don't wear them because of the light reflection. But good afternoon. Let's see what's going on with, can we make this pop out?
See what people are saying?
Right, I need to, okay, yeah, that's all fine. And age restriction, there we are. I need the cog. I'm just gonna talk through what I'm doing. There we are.
All done. Toby, all done.
Hi.
Good boy.
Hi. He doesn't know.
No, I know. He's just...
Oh, I see. You brought the wiener dog with you.
Yeah.
And they screwed up, so he has to go back.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
So
that's
is
fun.
this one yours, the big one?
Both of them are. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
no, the big one's probably mine, yes.
Yes, the
So we're gonna have product placement because I was trying to set the stream up, right? Because I remember beginning to do that before, only it's like, oh, okay, we're streaming, so we're actually live right now. Thank you. Yeah, well, we're pointed at the dog, so
okay.
if you want, I can click it back over and see everybody.
Coming over
No,
to
I
say
don't
hi.
want
You don't
to
want to be on? Alrighty. So people who walked in, it's Joe and my wife is here, and then Felicia. Wife says she doesn't want to be on camera, so we'll just stay on the now empty Toby bed.
Oh, he's going back. He wants to be a star.
Okay.
There we go.
But if you want to put your fry right there, I'll grab my fries.
And unfortunately, I'll be eating lunch on camera because that's professional. The best part is I got the microphone, so I'll do my best to not smack like an animal.
But I brought Bruno to hang out with you.
And then I just need
I want to pop out the chat.
to
There we are.
follow you, and then I'll grab the key and leave. Okay.
Hi, Bruno, you want to go upstairs?
Yeah, he does. He wants to be your best friend. See, I told you she was gonna love.
I'm gonna turn on your light. And
Oh, thank you, Joe, for turning on the light.
Says we're on.
There we are. I got an on-air light outside. I've told most of the other people in the building today. We've got a guy running Ethernet cable. That frightened me. It's like, are you going to tear down my internet while I'm trying to use it? No. Oh, okay, good. And then we have a whole nother crew setting up for a video shoot that's going to be happening later this week that has nothing to do with me because I'm actually in a studio that's working. It's not just my garage. I'm actually in a facility.
Oh, Toby moved from his back at my feet now. He's not on the Toby cam.
He's not on the Toby cam? No, I can see he's not on the Toby cam.
Yeah.
I'm eating fries. Sorry, guys. No, right on. Claire Kingston saying, finally catching you guys live.
Oh, nice. Oh, look, cheers from Poland.
Well, hello,
Wore the
Poland.
Richards. Oh, I
Right.
couldn't stand him. He's back.
Oh.
Bruno's annoying. Do you
Right.
guys want to see Bruno? Come here, Bruno. Come here.
I feel really, I have to give it a drink, but I have no straw.
This is Bruno.
Hello, Bruno. I'm not going to eat. This isn't going to work.
No, that's okay. Bruno's a sweetheart, but he's not very well developed. Let's just say that.
Right.
There it is. I was working on something.
Right. So what we're doing today is continuing with the Witcher armor. We're making the base Witcher armor using Foam Armory or Ben Edie's Foam Chainmail. This is what we had started doing last week, and we're going to continue doing it, well, most Mondays. Right now we're planning on every Monday, but there's the part of me that's like, you never say anything that's an absolute, because absolutes are almost automatically broken, right? But anyway, we're going to continue doing this until it's done. We wanted to get some stuff done beforehand. We wanted to get a little pre-prep, and that didn't happen. Actually, she's been helping me all week as well for this Wednesday's video. I'm not going to talk about it because we're currently editing it upstairs, but it'll be out Wednesday at 10, and she was at my time, and she's been helping me with that, so we didn't get this touched at all, and I appreciate it. And what I really appreciate is she has a full-time job, so she's kind of, yeah, a little bit of both.
It's October.
It's October.
Octobers are usually my busiest months.
Yes, I bet they are. Claire Kingston says, I've tried 3D printed chainmail. Have I tried it yet? I have not. I have not tried 3D printed chainmail, but I have seen 3D printed Worf's sash from Star Trek The Next Generation. And that worked really well because it just clicked together.
I really want to play with that 3D printed fabrics. Like, I'm
Oh, yeah.
not going to lie. I want to make a full dress out of it.
All right. Beware, I've got a printer or two. Nathaniel's saying hi, babies. So Nathaniel's saying hi to Toby and Bruno, which Bruno's now at our feet. He's no longer on his blanket in the light. So when things move, I'll put him back. But you got to see him briefly. Jaden, I'm not sure. It's just I haven't tried to get diagnosed for why I've got any discoloration around my eyes. It's been there for years. I've had friends that have had it. I don't wear enough makeup. Odin pets. Well, Felicia pets, but yes. I actually have Chihuahuas at home. I've got a couple of, got a little tiny apple-head, long-haired Chihuahua, Jelly Bean, and then we have a fat sausage Chihuahua that's Felix. So.
Jelly bean or Jilly bean?
Jelly Bean.
Jelly.
Yeah, Jelly Bean.
I like that. We got to think about when you name a dog, what you're going to yell when they don't come.
Right. Well, she's really good. You don't yell at her at all.
But
And now she's, where was it? We've only had Jelly Bean for a year or so. I actually work a lot, so I don't see the dogs that much. It has a much longer name. I don't remember her full name right now. Because you just call her Bean all the time, right?
yeah. Oh, I just saw. Have you tried using yarn as chainmail? Yes, and I love it. Just
Right.
FYI.
Totally.
It is a great material. I've used all sorts of different chainmails. I've used the plastic ones where they do the. I don't know
Right.
how they do it, but it's the plastic one. It's not 3D printed, but it's the
It's
stuff
just-
that you order.
And it just closes? Yeah.
Yeah. I've worked with that. That stuff's great. It looks beautiful. It hangs well, and it's light.
Right.
Real chainmail is heavy.
Right.
If it's not done right, it doesn't hang right. But
If it's not cut right, it snags everything.
yes, but I like working with it. But the easiest of them all is the knitted. If you just use a basic knit sweatshirt, t-shirt, not sweatshirt, t-shirt, not t-shirt, sweater with a garter knit stitch is the easiest, but you could also do it at the back of a jersey knit, and you paint it with a latex paint. I actually, in my ruler case, I have the pictures of the chainmail in it.
Oh, okay.
All the different ones that I used at that one shoot.
At that one shoot?
Yeah, let me just see.
Okay.
I saw it briefly.
Now, if I remember correctly, the macrame or knit or crocheted,
Not macrame.
it's not?
No.
Well, okay, it's spray painted, and that's constant. That's used a lot for.
Spray paint.
Okay, well, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell you what I've had so many theater majors tell me what they do,
Okay.
or have done, and has been done on stage for years.
Yeah, but the spray paint, it gets eaten up by the fabric. It just.
Yeah.
But see, I got a picture.
Get a picture. Yeah, you can see that well.
Can you see that?
Let's point it there.
There we go.
I can't zoom the camera, unfortunately. So.
Okay.
And then you get out of the focal plane, so
Okay.
it's not fair.
It doesn't help. But plastic chainmail, real chainmail. real chainmail, plastic, real, knit. Like there's knit, there's real, there's plastic all mixed in, and you can't tell the difference. But the best paint for painting chainmail, if you're going to do the yarn, is a latex paint.
It's a latex paint. Okay.
Yeah, because you can add fabric medium to it.
Right.
And then it still kind of has some of the softness of yarn as opposed to having. But spray paint just gets soaked up into the fibers that it's just, you can have a whole can of spray paint. And
Oh, yeah, and it
couple
just
cans,
disappears.
and it just-
Yep.
but that's my experience with.
I believe you. I just, I'm regurgitating what I've been told by other people. So.
But just from experience, no, spray paint doesn't work as well as you want. You could do the latex down as a base and spray paint over the top of it,
Gotcha.
and then it's not going to soak. But don't buy a sweater and a can of spray paint and think it's going to work.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to keep off of the same one so that I use two. Those two go to the same one, and I'm working
Okay.
on this guy. Sorry, I just want
All
to
right.
make sure that we have enough.
No, if you've got a plan. Okay. Well, don't get in too much trouble, Puneet.
What happened?
It's supposed to be an online class, and apparently he's paying attention to us. So don't get in trouble. If you can have two windows open and you're able to, All right, I've got a question from SniperCan007 asking, what is the best way to have an axe head connected to a PVC pipe as the core without having a bulge on the head of it? All right. So you have an axe head connected to a PVC pipe, so I'm assuming the axe head is EVA or some other foam, and you don't want a bulge on the axe head, or you don't want a bulge on the PVC pipe? I would imagine the bulge on the axe head. You're going to need to hollow out the foam of the axe head so the PVC pipe can go in. Am I not understanding? Maybe I'm not understanding the question. As far as attaching it, you're just going to want to take a heavy grit of sandpaper and scratch the pipe up really good. Where you're going to put the glue anyway. And then the glue has something to get a hold of, because if it's just the smooth PVC pipe, the contact cement will peel off. It'll take some time, but it'll happen. But just take 60 grit, 80 grit, and scratch the heck out of it. Give it some tooth is what I've heard Adam Savage call it all the time. And then the contact cement has something to hold on to, and it'll be fine for a very long time. I'm going to need a drink of water. I'm going to go into a coughing fit.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's my coffee. Oh, it's over there. Okay. All right, what are you saying? Please build that. Hey, Odin.
Yep.
What's your favorite prop?
What's my favorite prop?
I don't know. Yeah.
Hello, Jeff 3D Models. That's it. Just my. Oh, I see it there.
Yeah. What's your favorite prop?
My favorite prop, like ever. Like out of all the props ever, which single one is my favorite? I doubt I have a absolute. This is the favorite.
I know, it depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, depends on how it was used. It can depend on how it was made. It can be.
Favorite prop to make, favorite prop to use, favorite prop at each. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's like bad props and bad movies that I still
Which
love.
is your favorite kid? Quick, hurry, no.
With my favorite kid, right? Captain.
I'm telling.
So let's see. How about R2D2? That'd be fine. He's got a lot going on. He's pretty much a character, but he's also kind of a prop. Oftentimes you can't tell. I mean, you can, but oftentimes you can't tell which is the actor and which is just the remote control. I mean, you pretty much can't guess the 3 legs remote control. But, especially if it's transforming. I imagine there's still a third leg that Katie would sometimes sit on. But I know that when they speed up the film and have the leg come out of the barrel and then it rolls around, that, yeah, nobody's in that because there's no place for him to be. It's amazing. So in an effort to try and get this Wednesday's video done, because I'm a little behind on getting it finished. My wife is upstairs editing it right now. I was up at about 3 this morning, trying to finish up on it for some of the end shots. We're making multiples, so actually I was trying to get another one made. So I actually missed lunch. I've been up for a while. I don't know if I'm totally on right now. So you ask me questions where I got to think, and it's like fog brain.
Happens to the best
Happens.
of us. That's me in the evenings. I'm more of a morning person. My brain works better
Ah,
before it starts to shut down.
right.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed working early morning because, lack of a better term, the energy of everything is different. It's very calm and quiet outside, and it feels like it to me in here too. During the day, there starts to be more activity in the building, more stuff's going on. Sometimes I feel like I need to pay attention to more of it because I've got a small bit of responsibility for the building sometimes, and yeah.
You're saving these dots, right?
Some of them, yeah. I've probably got a few. I'm not gonna pick through them. I'm kind of saving them now, but on my side. But don't save yours. Just
Okay, let them go.
let them. Yeah, let them go.
Okay.
Looking over. All right, Cantuna's got a great question. How do we connect the chainmail? So here I am for the second Monday, just pulling them apart. But how do we connect it? How do we take this string of whatever this is
Okay.
and actually make it into
Go
chainmail?
to camera 4.
4?
4, cause see now
Okay.
you can see the shapes. But I'm looking at the
Camera
camera.
4 is a little. Well,
Okay. Do you want to use a different one?
no, it's fine. It's a
Okay.
little dark. I should have irised up, but I can't do it now.
But if you look at this, we have circles and we have loops. And the circles go through the other circles. So here's my end. And I have all these loops at the end. And I take this piece and I take, this is a circle, and I take the circle and I feed it through the circle. And then I feed the next circle through the other circle, and then I'll have a row of circles sitting up on the top. I like to do it so that the loop between the two circles is on our top. That way the other side is completely flat and this side has the bumps. So you always keep the loop on the top unless you wanted to do a garter stitch, which it would be on both sides, which we're not doing because it takes more.
Takes more, yeah.
It takes significantly more.
Yeah, and this is just the laying flat on the pads.
But that's what we're doing. It's just we're feeding the loops through each layer of loops. So
By the way, that's the product we're using.
yes, the product we're using. I love this stuff. As soon as I saw it, I got so excited because it solves a lot of...
Yes, it does. It's very, very cool. And this was, yeah. This isn't a sponsored build per se. This was a gift from the creator, Beniti. He sent it to me just with a, here's this stuff. If you can do something with it, that'd be great. And that was the end of it. He didn't expect anything, so.
Yay!
Yeah, yay! Super nice guy. I've talked to him a few times on the phone.
Yeah, I know. I was like calling you up going, hey, can we cut this stuff? Like,
Right, yeah.
I want to make a chainmail dress, and I need to figure out how I can source a bunch of this shit, and can we do it out of this, but it's red? Yeah.
Right, exactly, yep. Yeah, because he'd released the file to be able to laser cut your own pieces. But yeah, the stuff I really wanted to use, which is the What the Foam from the Cosplay Apprentice, the 2 mil for that, which is the right thickness, is only available in red because they've color coded their foam, which is a great idea, especially for instructional videos. That's fantastic. You know in an instant what size they're using. But I don't want to paint chainmail. I mean, you can paint the red, right? So it's not like you're stuck with only ever having red. But if I was to laser cut a sheet of 2 millimeter red, I wouldn't want to try to paint it and then weave it. And then it's just, and just start with something else.
But it being black and then just adding the
Yeah.
silver on top is amazing.
Oh, that works well, yeah.
Very dimensional, and I love it. But going from red, unless you're doing a red night,
Right, yeah, if you're doing a
or
red night.
fire night, or something
Sith
where a red
night.
glow would be great.
Right.
Very specific.
That'd be interesting, 2 layers. You wouldn't necessarily want 2 layers of chain, though.
No. But
But yeah, if you started with red and then did dry brushing of orange, yellow, and a little bit of white, you might be able to get like this kind of a fire look.
yeah, a fire
A
night.
glowing. Yeah, fire night. You said fire night, didn't you?
Yeah. Glow in the dark fire.
Glow in the dark. Yep, Larry's got it. Okay, so pre-cut loops, really cool. Absolutely it is. And yeah, it goes pretty quick.
You don't have to think about patterning it either right now because we're just doing rectangles.
Right, for the Witcher armor, since it's just the pads up around his upper arm, it's just squares. And in fact, the squares are smaller than the length, but it takes a little more than a sheet to make it square. So we just
Yeah.
put off enough and then cut off what we don't need.
Well, rectangles.
Rectangle, yeah. Well, anyway, I guess they are rectangles.
Yeah, well, a rectangle is not a square, but a square is a rectangle.
Okay. I was just thinking that, no, I got that right. I was just thinking that it's different than a sheet of paper. And so mentally I was thinking square because it
Yeah.
wasn't a,
That's okay, my little drawings of figuring out where all the stitching was,
mm-hmm.
I just did them as squares. I can't. I just did a square.
Oh, yeah.
To figure out where my stitching went
Sure.
to make life easier. But no, they're not square.
Nope. Oh, hello, Nicole from Patreon. All in capitals, capital letters. Right on. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Definitely happy to shout out my patrons. Sniper can. Oh, I think you're asking me because I didn't make a flame trooper. Where did I get the visor piece for the flame trooper? I don't think they're asking me.
Which one?
Yeah, I don't have a flame trooper. Must be someone else in the thing. Cantoon is asking if I plan on making another full Gundam suit. Which Gundams do I have in mind right now? So yeah, Joe and I have talked about doing another Gundam suit. There'll be a point in time when Joe's on the live stream as well. Happy to talk about Gundam at length at that point. We talked about doing Zaku, right? Because it would be great. I would fit in a Zaku suit, no problem, and I'd be happy to wear one. He wants to do a Gian, because Gian is pretty much his favorite of the mobile suits. But as far as which one would we make first for a general wide audience, you had to do the Granddaddy, had to do the RX-78, the Gundam, right? Because that's going to be the right one to do first. But at the moment, we're not planning on doing another Gundam suit anytime real soon. I'm going to start on my own later this month, but my own full suit. We're going to do another series. I think I mentioned what it was going to be last live stream. Days go by, sometimes I feel free to share it, sometimes I'm still like, no, that's something coming up, I don't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But we'll start it up here. Actually, I'll be working on it in a couple of weeks, but the video will be out the last Wednesday of October, and it'll be the last Wednesday of every month until that build is finished, and I'm going to work on the head and neck first. Jaden says, thanks for getting me into prop making, Odin. You're very welcome. It seems you have the same experiences as James' father, a machinist at first, but then a craftsman for props and different stuff. We love your videos. Well, thank you, Jaden L. I appreciate that. Actually, I've never actually been a machinist, but I grew up with one. My dad was absolutely a machinist and an engineer and a designer. He was an apprentice at the Southern Pacific Rail Yards in Sacramento. And so he learned a lot of really old school stuff, and he was a lot of fun to hang around with and hang out in the shop with and talk to. But then there's a certain amount of the little Odin kid, right? Little Odin brain, where it's like, I don't want to do what Dad does. So sadly, I never took the time to learn any of the machinery that Dad had. He would have loved to have taught me, but I was a little shit, and I didn't spend the time with him. So I don't have the chance anymore. He passed away about 20 years ago. I don't have the chance anymore. But yeah. there's still a lot of things talking to him and being around him that I kind of picked up and kind of saw that he was doing and will emulate. I've actually got some of the blueprints because he was a draftsman by trade in the 70s as well, and so I've got his hand-drawn blueprints, something that very few people do anymore. It's all CAD. He loved CAD when that came out, but yeah. So thank you, and I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Cantuta remembers. Yep, Mecha Godzilla with huge emojis. That's what I'm going to start working on. Cantuta remembers. That's very cool. Of course, they were here last week. We could do the 1974, the original Mecha Godzilla. Wild Wing. Yes, TA's okay. TA-04YP832325 Fernfrost PS is saying Thanos chest. Yeah, I would love to do some more Thanos armor. Because, I've made, on the channel, I've made the helmet, I've made the Thanos copter, the double-sided sword, and, of course, made the Infinity Gauntlet. When did that happen? That was Stockton Con winter, so not quite a year ago now, but getting close.
Back when people actually were.
Yeah, back when cons were happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was stolen. I don't know if it blew out of my truck. I'm not sure, but I no longer have my Thanos helmet. It's gone. I could make another one. I'd like to because I've got an excellent head cast of that someone else did. It's a recast of a Thanos mask that they were working on that my helmet fit perfectly on, but it's gone. And that's actually a pretty big bummer. It's one thing to give stuff away, right? I've given a few props away, like the Frozen Sword and the Science Scouter and a few other things I've given away or loaned out for people to use. That's not a big deal because I was part of the experience and transaction of letting it go. But when all of a sudden it's just gone, yeah, went to a good home. But all of a sudden it's just gone, yeah, kind of pisses me off. So I haven't really gotten around to getting back into Thanos, but I need to because he's fun. He's the bad guy. I like cosplaying as a bad guy because I don't feel like normally I'm a bad guy. So it's something I get to do that's different.
Just because you're a bad guy doesn't
mean you are bad guy. Okay, we got CJEMM5D. Is telling us that 1 year for Halloween, I went as a werewolf, and to make the digitigrade legs, I used a combination of old pair of shoes, 2x4s cut on an angle, and on one end a whole bunch of EVA foam. All right, isn't William Shakespeare working on something similar to that right now? I've seen some that way, where you're able to have the backwards knees and
Yeah. I like it when they do the heels without the shoe heels without the heels, so it gives it that.
Right, like Commander Saru right now is wearing the. I've often called them pony shoes, but yeah.
Yeah, I like those, and I have a pair where it doesn't have a heel, and so it has a support in the base of the shoe that sticks out.
Oh, okay.
So the way it's supported, it just looks like there's no heel, and that one's I like for what do you call the goat people?
Right, satyrs.
Satyrs, satyrs.
Satyrs.
Satyrs, satyrs.
Satyrs, yeah.
It's one of those words that I read and don't say as much. But that's great with their feet for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
2x4 because it's bigger. It's always better.
When I made my Guar costume, Ballsack has hooves, and so he's got the kind of backwards facing knee, but it's not really. It's just it's the wrist. But anyway, what I ended up doing, it was Guar, right? Because it was more goofy looking, so I could get away with more. I would still just stand normal, but I built a foam shroud legging that went over that had a false knee that stuck out, and then it kind of came back to a false ankle behind, and then came back down to my foot. So as it zigzagged across my leg, the very back was up against the very back of my leg, and then the very front was up against the very front shin of my leg. But then I had a big bulbous knee out front, and the spike of the wrist out the back, and it worked. It looked really good. I had a lot of people asking me how I was standing. It's like, I'm standing normal, but it worked well.
He wanted some attention.
Okay. Nope.
Can I get that?
Not a good shot.
Oh, All right. You good? All right.
So that's Bruno. So there's two pups running around in here right now.
Yeah, he's a little needy, so I don't tend to bring him.
Wine.
Look at him. He's like, but I had your attention. Here, go with Toby.
That Marvel nerd talking about, since I made the Matrix of Leadership, yes, there'll be a point in time when I make something else Transformers. In fact, I was talking about maybe doing something Optimus Prime, but that got postponed. It'll probably still happen though. But Transformers definitely coming back around again on the channel. Hey, Starius is here.
I always wanted those little kid costumes for to go into the little cars.
Yo, that's awesome. Yeah, where they just kind of fold up, they transform. Yes, Starius, with the fantastic memory. That is the Guar costume that I was wearing when I first met Carl Miller at the Renaissance Fair in 94, 95. Yes. So who's Carl Miller? The internet asks. Oh, he's just some guy. He works for Adobe now. I knew him when we were all working at Play Incorporated, and he's the lead singer for Sacramento's premier Star Trek band, Warp 11. They've got 7 CDs out now. It's all sex, drugs, and Star Trek. So
Do they do concerts?
they do, rarely, but they do.
But this isn't the year for concerts.
No, this isn't the year for concerts. And you know, playing in venues is still kind of a concert, I guess. It's a show, whatever. But yeah, no, they do it. They still do. Yeah, they did one last year.
'Cause I love those random shows here. Like,
Yeah, saw them on Old Ironsides last year. They used to play at the blue lamp all the time, but the blue lamp's
I like Ironsides.
closed now.
That's where my friend would do her open mics.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. They're closed now?
No, Ironsides is good. Blue lamp is
Okay.
closed.
Oh, okay. I like Ironsides. I hadn't been to Blue Lamp, so
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Somebody has an angry clown. What's going on with that? All sorts of emotions.
Right. Got the Rex Blaster. Sniper can again. Any Warhammer helmet plans? Yeah, I've thought about Space Marine helmet or Terminator Marine helmet, but nothing's committed yet. I think I've got pretty much dialed in what I'm going to do. No, not 100%. So the rest of October, I pretty much know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. Well, I know what I'm going to do Wednesday because it's an edit, and I got to go. The parts I need to shoot for the video for that still is the "Hello, I'm Odin. Today I'm going to make a thing," and then the very end when I'm holding it up and it's finished. Yeah, I got to shoot those parts. So when you're watching the video, realize I didn't shoot those until after I told you about how I need to shoot them. So that's for this Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I'm going to do something that's timely for a new program that's coming out, and then the third Wednesday of October. Thank you. The month. That's kind of where my brain was going.
It's costume month.
It's costume month. I'm going to do a Halloween build. And specifically with this particular Halloween build, I put up a poll on my Patreon page saying, hey guys, what do you want to see? And I threw out a few ideas like Ash's mechanical hand, a generic butcher knife that's like from every horror film ever, including Michael Myers, because I don't really want to make a Captain Kirk mask. It's too easy to just get one to bother to make one.
And then have it authentic.
Right, that would be great. But you can just buy them, and that's one where you should just buy it because that's what it looks like.
You're going to have the right thing.
You can have the right thing.
And it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah. But then also I had a thing saying, I have a great idea, check the comments. And of course, that one's winning right now. And the leader in the comments is the Lament configuration. So it's the Hellraiser box. So that's the thing that's currently in the lead. So I actually
If you don't like that, go vote.
Yeah, if you don't like that, go vote. It's on my Patreon page. And it's open to everybody on the Patreon page. It's
Your
not like
vote matters.
your vote matters. Yes, there's only like 25 votes right now, so there's not yeah, your vote could very well matter. Target flash, Thanos weapon from Avenger. This can't be happened. Yeah, I already did that. It's hanging on the wall over there. That one? Is there a different one? I did make a ship. It's the Thanos copter, right? Because he spins it like a helicopter.
I would. That's kind of. If you had enough space.
If you had enough space, right? So I still have that. At least the helmet's easier to remake. I spend most of my week and most of my creative efforts making next week's video. So the idea of remaking something or doing anything more involved than, say, a Lego set just isn't time I want to have to spend or want to spend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to redo something you've already done too.
Yes, it is.
As much as there's like, I would do it better and I would do it differently, it's hard to sit back down and go, but I already did this.
But I already did this.
I already finished this, it's already dried, I already had it done, and even if I didn't like it, it was done.
It was done. It was fun to wear, so.
Yeah, so I feel ya.
Yeah, but that will happen because Vacation Thanos at Dragon Con was a lot of fun. So I'm sure, even though it'll be old when I get around to going to Dragon Con again, I'll get that costume put back together and do it. And I like the idea of doing more of the full Thanos armor. I have not seen the hosts see Gemmed 5D. Asking if you've seen the host Korean with a monster. I think I've heard of it. V&K Richards, what sword will I use for this cosplay? Are you going to make one? I'm not sure. Oh, this cosplay. Okay.
I have two swords that aren't right, but they're real metal swords that are the right size and weight. So I was going to use those so that the thing could hold sword weights.
Okay.
Just as reference. But no, it's the Lord of the Rings sword and a generic one from,
Well, yeah.
you know.
Right. It's you got White Fang and you have Aragon's sword.
Well, I have White Fang, but I have
Oh,
another
you weren't
one.
going to use that one? Okay.
I have a lot of swords, but not that many.
Right.
But I found one that is, it's not any character. It's just a silver sword that looks like it could be the steel sword, and the Lord of the Rings sword, I figured it could be the silver sword.
Okay. Yeah.
They're close enough, they're not right. It's a costume, and it's going to hold the weight.
Right.
So don't plan on it, but I have swords as reference weight points, so we'll play with them.
So we get this all done. You think we can see a picture of this is for Javier, right?
We'll see.
Oh, okay, maybe. All right.
We
Can I say Javier's name streaming
Yeah.
on the internet? He's not trying to hide, is he?
No.
Okay.
It's also technically not his real name, so.
Oh, there you go. We're good. Am I mispronouncing his not his real name?
No,
Okay, good.
that's just his middle name.
That's just his middle name. Okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, you're fine.
All right.
But yeah, we can somebody size large that is a standard size large will be wearing it and fitting it.
Right.
Yeah, because Thorkeles, we're
Yeah.
using his dress form. It's the right size.
Right.
Yeah. But I have swords. I have them at home.
Oh, awesome. I'm seeing Aaron Walters. Hello, Odin from the UK. Been a big fan of your work since you were on Aw Me. Well, awesome. Hello back to you in the UK. And actually, you weren't really on Aw Me, but you were on Defy Media. So Aw Me ultimately was owned by the same company, Defy Media, who also did Smosh. And both of us worked on the Smosh channel as well. So, yeah. But yes, my face was actually on Aw Me, as opposed to very rarely on the Smosh channel. And if any of you remember if any of you watched Smosh, and if you remember there's a little meme that ran around that the behind the scenes guys made for about a year, wasn't around very long. Odin, he's the man, right? She's the one in the background of that picture.
I'm in the background of a lot of things.
You are.
Nobody notices because my hair's always different.
I have not made Hawkeye's bow, David Oceanic. And Cantoon is asking, what's my favorite giant sword from any media?
You have a lot of giant swords.
I've got a lot of giant swords. Well, almost every giant sword I've made is because someone else talked about it. I was like, oh yeah, that looks cool, sure. You're making me think. While a train goes through my head.
You should do the dog again.
Dog cam. Well, they're at the top of the screen, but there is dog cam.
So which one's your favorite? Or do you just
Right.
Size
How about
doesn't matter.
lightsaber? Does that count?
or your beam saber?
Yeah. Well, the beam saber's great, but yeah, I don't know.
Lightsaber
I
better?
like lightsabers. I'm an old school kind of guy in that way. Lightsaber's not really a giant sword, I suppose. That's just it. I'm not sure if I've got a favorite giant sword. I enjoy fantasy movies and I enjoy the medieval stories, but as far as a genre goes, I've always been more towards science fiction and post-apocalyptic and stuff. So swords don't play a huge part in those stories typically,
Unless they're light.
unless they're light.
Based.
Yeah. But yeah, the Buster Sword's awesome. I remember always laughing at it. A lot of the giant swords that I have to laugh at just thinking about the physicality of being able to pick it up, right? Speaking of awe, me, when Man-at-Arms made the Buster Sword out of aluminum so they could make it as light as they could, the poor guy still threw his back out trying to pick it up. So
Really?
yeah, the main guy, the big guy that's in charge of the forge, yeah.
Yeah.
They got it all put together, and he was going to go out to hit the watermelon or whatever they do at the end of the video. It's in the video. He talks about it. He threw his back out trying to pick it up.
Bruno? No.
Rodogo Khan is asking me if I'm a gamer. Sort of. I enjoy games. I love board games. I do play video games, but I wouldn't say, hey, I'm a gamer, because I'm not up on everything. My favorite game is probably Adobe Premiere or Adobe Photoshop. Does that count? I really like first-person shooters. I love Portal because it's a first-person puzzler. But as far as most people who like to label themselves like gamer and I'm this and I'm that. I remember seeing a lot of people like that when I worked at the comic shop back in '89, yeah, '91, '92, and there was a certain amount of elitist that went along with it, and so I was never really interested in labeling myself like that.
Don't wanna be associated with.
Right. Well, it's not that I don't want to be associated. I mean, yeah, I suppose, but.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't want to. The feelings that I got from listening to some of these people talk, I didn't want to be putting out those feelings.
Yeah.
And so, and then there's also the I don't have that awesome of a rig, right? What's the last Nintendo I bought? The Wii, I think.
I played Animal Crossing.
Right, there you go. I've got a PS4 that I haven't plugged in well over a year. I bought that,
Yeah.
mostly for the Blu-ray and for Lego games.
My best friend growing up, she was always a huge gamer, and I would sit and play with her, but she was a gamer. I wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But do I enjoy them? Yeah, I do. And I can easily lose my entire week into Civilization, and I enjoy replaying the games that I know, and I enjoy trying new games. I think one of the things that turned me off for a while is, for many years I had a Mac, because I've been working on so many projects that were using Final Cut Pro 7, and that was only a Mac program.
Yeah.
And since that was the only computer I had, that restricted the games I could play on Steam.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just, I wasn't doing it. Like, wanted to play Fallout. Oh, PC only.
Yeah. We ended up getting a gaming computer to do all that processing now that you don't have to have a Mac in order to do
Right.
editing.
Well, I've got a PC now for editing, and I put Steam on it for about a week and a half, and it went from booting up in, very quickly to go get a cup of coffee booting up. And it's like, the only thing that's changed here is Steam, so that's coming off, because this is my edit machine and what I live with. This is how I pay my rent. I'm not going to, I don't want to clutter it up. Postback 75. So I've been working on a Batman costume, and it made me wonder, have you played the Arkham Batman games? And if I have I ever considered making a Batman prop? I've made a number of Batman props. What's that?
I love that game.
You love that game?
I do.
Didn't we have to make a couple of Joker's riddle trophies for Smosh because of that game? Yeah.
I liked. Okay, at first I didn't like Ian's Batman. Because
Right. No.
it's
Right off the bat, I loved Ian's Batman.
it grew a place in my heart, and I love I love those jokes. It got to be one of my favorite episodes is when we did the Batman.
So one of my favorite Batman props that I built, just the same episode, they were
Bat paper.
yeah, the Bat toilet paper. We needed to make a bathroom in the Bat cave, and so using pre-existing sets and one of the toilets
Did
that we
you steal
had.
the rest? Oh,
No, I've been just pulling this.
oops, there's a Toby.
Well, I wasn't paying attention to which one I was playing
Oh,
with.
okay, that's
but,
what I was wondering. I'm like, did I? No, actually, I think I'm just about finished. Okay,
Okay, good.
I ran out.
Good. So for the set, put a toilet in, and then I made a bat symbol, and then that's what I attached the toilet paper roll to. So it was this bat symbol with a toilet paper roll on it. If you go find one of the Batman videos on Smosh, you'll find it pretty quickly. And there were 2 or 3 different scenes and jokes that were originally in the script that got scrapped because the guys kept improvising with this bat toilet paper roll.
If it's yellow, let it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Oh, yeah. Some days we would just laugh and laugh and laugh, and it never quite translated to what
Right.
ended up on.
On screen, yeah.
But sometimes it did translate well, and I think that's one of those ones that did. But I remember laughing and laughing.
Right.
And laughing.
And I remember that was while I was still on set too, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a point in time when I was working for Smosh that I then also got a full-time job. So I was only working for Smosh on the weekends and a couple of evenings, and I was never there for shooting anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, 1977 Sheba says, Felicia, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Phone buzz. Let's make sure I'm not getting a message from somebody. It's happened before where. Nah.
What?
Dog.
Oh.
Oh. Once again, canned tuna. Talk about how he loves the portal gun is just hanging on the tool wall. Yeah, well, what else am I going to do with it? That's the one from DIY Prop Shop, too.
I think that's one of my more favorite props.
That-
Because you have that with a lab coat.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a instant.
Yeah, Rick Sanchez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that kind of bluish, greenish colored
Yeah.
shirt that they have on the shelf.
Right.
that's, You know, cotton with one of those and some khaki. Yeah.
Yeah. No, did it.
Yeah. That's an easy peasy one.
And then because that was specifically the clothes that I had to wear in order to be the character, and then tried to green screen myself wearing that shirt.
That's the bluish green, so you can't do blue and you can't do green.
Yeah.
It's all wrong, chroma key.
It was all wrong for chroma key. It absolutely was. I wasn't paying attention. Now I'm trying to catch up where I was.
It's okay. What's wrong, Toby? Why are you whining?
I don't know.
Oh, he's playing with Bruno.
Okay.
That's what's going on. Yeah. He was getting annoyed of him earlier and grabbed his leash and said, "Sit down."
Right. Camera doesn't look so centered anymore. This camera?
Well, I think it's depending on. I'm kind of staying still because I'm on an Apple box, but I think you move
Okay.
from being centered.
Well, I can go move the camera if that would make people happy. We've had a few people come through, but I don't think the camera's been bumped. You know, it probably should be nice and have a different shot. So you're not watching me, so I'm not making the camera swing around. It might be a little bit off, but I don't think so. Nimblues says, nice Minecraft diamond axe. Did you make it or did you buy it? I made it. There was a point in time briefly where I got a sponsorship deal to make videos for TikTok, and they all had to be video game. So the Diamond Axe from Minecraft was one of the TikTok videos that I built, because they had to be simple too, right? They insisted the videos had to be 15 to 20 seconds long. So I had to build a prop and then present the video in 15 to 20 seconds. And then they wanted 3 a week. So things had to be real simple. That's not up here right now, visible, no. But one of the other ones I did really quick was the Key from Adventure, the old Atari 2600 game. I remember building that as well.
Did you slice this one thinner, or did you add a piece? Oh, I see. You have
It's
3.
layers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's how you got it cubed.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Where was this?
That was just up between the Mandalorian and,
Here?
yep.
All right, I
All
think
right.
this one's done.
Okay, so we're gonna,
But we need I wanted to do the lower arm out of this.
okay, well I can set my thing aside. If we got one, we can move on with making stuff, so it's
You wanna
not just
cut the
this.
rectangles, and I'll finish this up.
Sure,
'Cause, yeah.
because I'm going slow.
No, because I don't want to cut the rectangle.
Oh, okay.
I know you're more precise than I am. I eyeball it, and it's good enough.
Gotcha. Okay, well I'm gonna want I was clearing everything off,
And
so.
I was taking your space.
Well, no,
Yeah.
because I need this to move so I can cut. All right, and you want this size here specifically, right?
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
That size-ish.
Oh, I
Whatever
can, I
that
can
size
get 2
is.
out of 1 sheet.
Yeah, you totally can.
In time. Oh, okay. Ish. So I'll get the corner.
Yeah, it's a felted fabric. It's not like any straight of grain or straight edges, as much as I tried.
Right. It's fine. I'm seeing the chat
Oh,
tick away. Ah, got my finger.
don't do that. You need
Yeah,
those.
I do.
Do you need a Band-Aid?
I don't think I'm leaking yet. Hopefully I'm not.
No, it doesn't look like it. No bleeding.
No, I don't want to be bleeding.
Well, why don't you just trace that one?
I'm getting you an ish.
Okay, works for me.
My patron, again, Nicole King, screaming out that, hey, Odin, you should come to Massachusetts. That's where I'm from. Yeah, eventually. I would love to get around and visit places again. It's been a little bit. It's not the year for that, no. I know there was a little con that was happening in, actually it just did, I think, in LA that really wanted me to come down, but I wasn't comfortable with traveling and meeting a large group of people. And I also see that LA Comic-Con is trying to put one on. LA Comic-Con is trying to set up to do in December, and they've rented the entire LA Convention Center, so they're doubling their space,
Okay.
and they're doubling all the aisles, and they're breaking things up to where like there's gonna be different things inside of the building, right? So there'll be different places for people to go. It won't be one big room with everybody in it. But they're also only going to let in half the people they did last time. So they're doubling the space and only going to have half the people. Hey, Bruno, it's okay.
Bruno, all done. Come here, baby. Bruno, come here. Come on.
So
he knows Joe's in there.
yeah.
And he's trying to let us know that there is somebody in there. You, pay attention to me.
So hopefully the con will have plenty of space, and they're also going to it's going to shut down for an hour in the middle of each day, and they're going to sanitize it, which is like
I just don't know. Like, it's
Yeah.
just such a crazy year that it's hard, that you don't know what's right, what's wrong, and when
right,
you can do everything right and still fuck up.
right. So yeah, so I was like, I don't think I'm going to go.
So yes, it would be amazing to travel.
Carl Davies says, Odin, Felicia, my 9-year-old, hey, language, 9-year-old Kai loves your channel and is watching right now. He would love a shout out and any advice he could give to a young maker fan to keep motivated with the builds. So we're teaching about curse words today. And what's important to know is the proper usage of them. You don't want to just throw them out because you'll sound like a sailor or you'll sound like an uneducated person, because just using a curse word to use a curse word is not creative. But
It helps you handle more pain, though.
it does help you handle more pain. But if you know the right inflections and if you know the right timing to use it, you can get any adult to laugh, and that's good. So anyway, otherwise, hey, how's it going, Kai? Any advice? Yeah, just make. Don't be afraid to make. My mom still has clay dinosaurs that I made that I don't even remember doing, that are lumpy sausages with little legs that stick out the side, and it's a T-Rex and a Triceratops, but I don't remember doing it. She thinks they're great, and it was just make. Don't worry about it. Know that you are going to be your worst critic. That
Yes.
you're going to see your flaws, and you're going to feel more insecure about whatever it is that you've created than anybody else will. You'll have people that are critics that want to nitpick something. Let them, because that's what they need to do.
They care enough to notice.
There you
is what
go.
I figured. If you look that close and you see, thank you for noticing.
Right.
For giving it a, sorry,
No.
language. Giving enough of a crap about things to look that closely to care. I appreciate.
Exactly. So, because the insecurity of creating and then sharing it with anybody else because of self-criticism is the hardest thing to get over. And every video I make, there comes a point in time about 75% way through that I'm afraid that you guys who watch are going to hate it, and it's not going to get a good watching numbers, and I'm going to have wasted my week. And believe it or not, that's true for almost every single video still. So I'm still doing it too.
The one we just did, I was nervous and
Oh, I was nervous about that thing too. And I still am a little bit, but I think it'll be
turned out
fine.
amazing.
Yeah.
It turned out great. And I was just going, is this, and
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah, and it still happens. But you
So.
just do it anyways.
Yeah, just do it anyway. And the act of creating, and it doesn't matter what you're creating, well, I guess maybe it does matter what you're creating. You don't necessarily want to you want to create deviant, but anyway, it doesn't matter what you're creating because it'll create the urge to do more, and you'll figure out stuff. You'll figure out the right way to cut cardboard to make it move the way you want it to move. You'll figure out the right how to peel one layer off, and now you can actually radius it, make something curved
Making
without
mistakes helps you
making.
learn.
Yeah, making mistakes helps you learn, and working with weird things helps you learn stuff that suddenly applies to something else that no other craftsman, a maker might be able to tell you, but no other craftsman would be able to tell you, because they don't have that kind of a weird relationship between two things that would be otherwise unrelated. It's funny how often that's come up, that I'm trying to fix something, is like, oh, well, there's a thing that plumbers do, and that should work here. And it works. So yeah. Anyway, hello Kai, how's it going? And keep making. I'm glad you're watching the show, and thank you very much.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs. Oh. Eduardo Souza. Odin, who is Felicia? This is an easy question to
I'm
answer.
Felicia.
Done. Okay, so we mentioned earlier, and in case you're just now tuning in, Felicia I have known for a number of years. I met her when I joined the crew working on the video series Smosh. She was already there and had been there for a while as the costume designer, wardrobe.
When I
and
met
PA?
you, I was the key PA.
You're
so
still the key PA, okay.
I was the key PA, so I did wardrobe and I did everything, but I just was called a PA.
Wow, okay.
So I did a lot.
Right.
But then I left and then I came back. And when I came back, I was just wardrobe.
Okay.
And then the wardrobe kind of extended into a whole wardrobe department.
Right.
That then just got out of hand from there.
Yeah, well, Smosh kind of got out of hand.
Yeah, no, it did.
Well, it
But-
went from 2 guys to a cast of like 7.
Yeah, and costumes and props often overlapped, and I always
Right.
got into your stuff.
Which is fine. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird to me that sometimes that, I mean, I guess the distinction that sometimes was thrown out that it was costume if you can put it in a washing machine.
I think it was a prop if it started out in the scene and then it got put on, but it was a costume if you were wearing it when you entered the
See, okay.
I don't know. I know Felicia
That
Lindsay
works.
had. I'm not talking about myself in the third person, but
Right. To make things clear at Smosh, there were 2 main people that worked in the wardrobe. There was Felicia, and then there was Felicia. So it made it really easy to keep track.
yeah. So, anyways, just to make everything more confusing.
Totally clear.
What was I even telling you?
You were telling me about how the distinction between if it was a prop or wardrobe
Yes.
within the context of working at Smosh. You
Because
said-
Felicia and Lindsay, they were very they liked definitions. This is mine.
Yes.
This is yours.
Yes, they did.
They did very much.
I didn't care as
I
much.
didn't care either, and I think that's why. Anyways, I would go and bug and get. We often overlapped. Like,
Right.
Remember that costume where I had to dress somebody up as a car,
Yeah.
and you had to help me go get that fucking car.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
so we worked together, and then once kind of post Smosh, I still was doing a lot of art department and stuff like that, and you moved over here to the media center,
Right.
and I did a lot of projects out of here, and I was still getting into your stuff. Still
Yes.
do.
Yeah. Old habits didn't change.
No.
I had a whole new shop and a whole new building, and she has still come back in the middle of something. I need a screwdriver. Okay, here you go.
I'm working on this project. I need to make this thing puke blue blood. You
Oh,
know, just
okay.
random
We're doing that
problems.
again.
Yeah. You know,
Right.
who knows? So we're friends that craft together.
Right.
Who, yeah, we just often, I don't know, we bump paths a lot.
One pass, yes. I was also working on a show called Beyond Geek, which is on Amazon if you want to see it. There's an episode being done right now about mermaids, and that's because of COVID has been, that episode should have been done, but it's, waiting. It's in progress. You ended up kind of helping out with that and making a mermaid tale.
I
So
totally do geek out
Yeah.
over mermaids.
yeah.
But yeah, so just, we're friends who coworkers?
Coworkers,
Well,
acquaintances. I don't know. It's just Felicia.
it's Odin.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Ronnie Ruiz says, I just got here. What have I missed? About an hour.
Much of me just putting the chainmail together. It takes time to do the busy work.
It does. It takes time to put chainmail together, whether it's the EVA chainmail or if you're going to be actually trying to do it with lock washers or bent wire. But this foamarmory.com foam chainmail is the easiest chainmail that I've ever weaved and ever worked with.
Oh,
This
I'm
is-
not complaining. It's
No,
just-
this is great stuff.
So it just takes time to craft. And so we're talking while we're crafting.
Yeah. And so what are we crafting? Witcher armor. So the basic vanilla core.
Witcher 3, the
Witcher.
video game.
Okay, fine. We'll be specific.
Well, because there's the
It's
TV
important.
series where
Yeah.
he has that great outfit, and it's a very similar pattern, but it's not chainmail.
Okay.
And I wanted to do chainmail because I wanted to play with this stuff.
Right. Just to be clear, Janko, I'm not ignoring everyone, but I don't read out all the prop requests that happen in the live stream because that would be 2 hours of me reading off prop requests.
Can you make all the props in all the video games?
Oh, sure. Just give me some time. I'm not sure if Bose or Boosie is asking me, what are you going to do for Halloween, or where are you going to go as for Halloween? I don't plan on going as anything for Halloween. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Halloween was huge for me when I was younger because that was the costume day, right?
That's dress-up day.
That's dress up day. That was the only time you got
dress-up
to do
holiday.
it. Yes, and that was so important to me. There was a point when I remember an employer letting me know that I don't know if I can give you the night off. I was like, well, it's 2 weeks out, so how about if I just turn in my 2-week notice? And that was the level of importance that Halloween had. But anymore, I make costumes or costume parts, or I'm just generally being creative every week. And so Halloween's not as important anymore.
I try and do something different every weekend leading up.
Yeah, there you go.
Halloween depends on, but this year it's different. This
It
year
is.
is just a completely different ball game.
Which really sucks because this year is a full moon. It's Saturday.
It's like the perfect.
It's like, yeah, it's everything you want in a Halloween. And
I already bought 2 giant bags of candy for myself.
oh, good.
I got the chocolate mix, and then I got the Skittles Starburst Twix mix. I don't know, it had Twix in it, so I had to. But
Okay.
I plan on eating all of that. That's for sure.
On Halloween night?
Yeah.
Okay. You have fun.
Sugar overload, why not? But who knows what I'll be this year. I always change. I'm always something.
Right.
Yeah.
You definitely, in addition to everything else, there was a period of time when she was working at a actual costume rental place here in Sacramento. And so she was wearing costumes all the time.
Well, I was the costume department.
You were the costume
and then
department.
I costume people. And
Uh-huh.
then, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I used to say I was a method costumer. 'Cause I would
Okay.
just like, how is this supposed to go? I have to try it on. How are people going to move in this?
Right.
And do I just complain about, "Ugh, you guys are fine. You can move. You can breathe. I know you can't see, but
You can't say,
it's
vision,
not that bad.
vision's overrated,
Vision's overrated.
says the video guy.
It's overrated. Remember the TV head? He didn't need to see.
Right, no, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
But that was for a shoot. That's different than a Halloween costume. I don't have any video of it that I could bring up right now, but there was a werewolf VV video that we both worked on here a couple years ago now, and the main character in it,
Yeah.
it's been like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
The main character is wearing all yellow, and his head is a big yellow TV or monitor. And so I took a monitor and hollowed it out, and then put LED lights where the screen was, so it could still light up and it would provide some interactive light with the environment. It wasn't that bright, but it glowed because they added in all the different images in post. But still, all the edges around the frame, and the few times you looked at something close, you would get that reflective light back off of the monitor face. And it was fun on set.
Yeah. I like that you can control it with your little clicker.
Yeah.
Change it.
Just change it.
his face without him knowing. He just had to just exist. I liked TV head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I posted that on my Instagram or not. I think I did.
I don't know.
It might be in my Instagram feed if you want to go look in the history of that. That's
I have
Odin Makes.
so many photos I never post because it's when does this going to air?
Right.
Was I
right.
allowed to take backstage photos? Who knows?
That is a problem of working for productions. You want to do the social media for everything, but there's so much. Like, I'm not talking about my upcoming video. It really doesn't matter. I can talk about it. It's my video. But I've got such the ingrained idea that you don't do that I'm not doing that to me.
It's just you hold on to them and then you forget to post them.
Starius Prime is asking, which Starius is also a patron, and I've known that guy a long time. What movie what movie would you watch on Halloween night?
Hocus Pocus.
Okay. No, that's cool. First thing that comes to mind is Nightmare Before Christmas would probably happen. What's kind of funny is I would end up watching movies that my wife would like to see, right? I love horror movies, and I would be happy to see a horror movie. She has no interest at all. That's cool. I have no problem with that. So if we're going to stop and watch a movie, if we're going to actually stop and watch a movie, I'm going to watch something that she's going to want to watch. And so I wouldn't be watching. Like, I'd love if she would watch Cabin in the Woods. I think she would, if she could get past the first 45 minutes of it, she would really enjoy it once it gets into the whole, rest of the story. But I don't expect that'll ever happen, so that's kind of okay. So what would we watch? Nightmare Before Christmas. Practical Magic is actually one that's not terribly Halloween themed, but is one of her favorites, as is The Craft. So those types of things we'll probably end up watching. I've seen all those plenty of times,
Yeah.
which is fine. Those are fine
If I go
movies.
scary, I'd probably do The Conjuring, because that one's
Okay.
a good scary one for me. But I don't like scary movies.
Gotcha.
But that one was a good kind of, the right kind of scary. I don't know.
Right. Another one that's
Hocus Pocus.
totally
is good
not
for me.
not prop related or anything for the channel, but it's one I enjoyed. And I actually got her to watch. It's The Others. It's just a ghost story called The Others with Nicole Kidman, I think. And
That one was a little creepy.
That one's a
was
little
good-
creepy, yeah.
That was
That
a
one
good
was fun.
kind of creepy.
yeah. Okay, I'll try answering this one here. Jack Smith. Oh, hey, hello, the Jack Smith. Odin, what do you say is the best way to make a prop video educational and entertaining? Prop way to make, wow, there it is. A prop video that's educational and entertaining at the same time. That seems to be Jack Smith's biggest problem with this whole YouTube thing, is how to make something that's both educational and entertaining. For me, a lot of it was pacing, I think. My early videos have really fast pacing. Right, that was kind of intentional because there was an amount of time that DIY Prop Shop wanted their videos to run, and so I had to make mine in between having a full-time job, working at Smosh, and on the occasion making DIY Prop Shop videos. So the Odin Makes videos, the early ones I did, were 5 minutes long, and I'd say everything really fast because I wanted to get the video done, because here's all the information I wanted to give you because I need to get it done really fast. I don't do that anymore. But what I mean by pacing is, so here we are in the live stream, and we're putting together chainmail. We're on hour 3 of putting on chainmail for 2 different live streams. There's no need to watch all that if it wasn't for the live aspect and I couldn't look over and actually talk back to you guys. And there wasn't all the storytelling going along with it that isn't really much into the instruction of what we're doing. Putting the chainmail together could be accomplished as quickly as, and then I assembled the foam chainmail, linking the links into each other until I had a full sheet. And you need 2 shots to show that, maybe 3, and you move on.
It's the cake out of the oven.
Yeah, it's the cake out of the oven.
The ingredients and ta-da!
Ta-da! Cake's out of the oven, which is a big thing for television. I've often joked about how my show is a cooking show for props because of cake out of the oven. But mine's all done with editing because generally I'm only making one thing. So my primary goal is to make an entertaining video. The story within it is definitely how I made it and the methods that I used to achieve what I was trying to build, which is absolutely not the only way to do it. It's just
the way Odin makes.
how Odin makes. So making the videos entertaining. Also, the thing for me was the majority of the, oh, I got this like cough trying to brew up here. I knew that the majority of the viewers that are going to watch my videos are only going to watch it and they weren't going to actually do it. So I tried to make my videos paced in a conversational way and in an entertaining way, so people who weren't going to actually do it could enjoy it still. Yeah.
Sometimes I like to just watch how you would do something, and on my project I would take a piece of that. Not necessarily I'm making that exact helmet,
Right.
but I like the, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You
That would
can
work.
use glue instead of using stitching or whatever.
Exactly.
Or whatever. But, yeah. So what are people saying?
Let me be totally unprofessional. Rattle. I've got a microphone. I'm going to rattle my iced tea right in front of it. And so yeah, that would be it. Because my videos I'm usually producing by myself. I'm usually the only one in the room. That hasn't been the case so much recently, which seems like a weird year for that to be the case.
Right?
But so I've got my whole shop set up to be a one-man show. I've got my spot here. I've got an air conditioning duct right over my head that's blowing to either keep me cool or warm, but it's also pulling air from the other room. So I've got fresh air being dumped right on my head because of all the chemicals that I'm using. So I've got ventilation, right? The other things I got set up is a number of cameras. I've actually got 5 cameras set up all around me that are usually all rolling. Yep, we've got the
5. Okay.
5. There's only 4 inputs on the switcher. We got the one that we're talking to, then we have this camera over here, and then we have the Toby camera with the Bruno, who are both behaving now. And then we have the cooking camera, and then over here is another camera that's the reverse angle of this angle. So I got this side, and then over there's another one of the same. And so those all record constantly, all at the same time. I've got 128 gigabyte SD cards I put into all of them, so I can go for about 4 hours before the cards run out, and I have to go dump it all off into a hard drive. It is severely overshot. That is, when you have over a terabyte of footage for a 10-minute video, that is severely overshot. But I'm the only one here. I don't have a cameraman. I couldn't ask someone to stand here with a camera multiple days out of the week after week after week, and not pay them. So I had to do it this way because it just wasn't fair any other way. So I overshoot, and then when I'm writing, even though I've got 5 layers of video and it can run for 90 minutes, if what I'm doing, I only need 1 sentence worth of footage, that's all I use. And the rest of it just lives on a hard drive until, I don't know. I've kept everything so far, but I hardly ever go back and look at it.
I know, right?
Right? So I'm just kind of hoarding it.
Worth of photos that I'm just
Yeah.
sitting on.
Now, Adobe Premiere has a great thing where you can export your file, right? You can take your project. So when you finish your timeline project, you have only the shots that you wanted to use, and that's on your final timeline, and you render it out, and then that's the video you see. Adobe Premiere has a function, and there's other editing programs that do this too, so I'm not going to say that it's the only one, where you can export your project, and it'll take only the footage that's on the timeline, create a new smaller video of just that footage, plus about a second before and about a second after, so you can actually move it around. And then it re-encodes it and puts it off in a different spot. But when I've done that to my videos, it ends up being bigger because of the codec that it uses, and it refuses to use any other codec.
Well, the project I'm working on is working with raw files. And so
Oh yeah, that would probably.
That helps, so.
Yeah.
But I haven't fully dove into it, so we'll see.
But I've got they're $200 cameras. I'm not running on massively expensive, fantastic equipment, and most of it just records to MPEG-4. So when it gets re-encoded into a larger, into a better editing codec, which it would be, and if I was using broadcast, this MP4 stuff that I'm running with a high compression on my 4K files would not fly. Then that would work out. I kind of lost my place. But it has to do with exporting all that footage ends up being bigger than just saving it all.
I feel like you could glue the edges.
But glue the edges? Okay.
Well, you have it all pinned, but you can lift it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that.
And I figured it's better to glue and then trim.
Yeah.
But I would start. You could leave those ones, glue this edge,
Okay.
put them back in, because it will shrink back up on the top, on the sides. But.
Well, there's a magnetic
bowl
right there, and I'm not using it.
I do the same thing.
Sorry. I'm tired.
It's okay. I'm just knitting.
Now I'm looking at gluing, and I'm not paying attention to the viewer feed that's running by, but I will look at it again here in just a second. So. Random, wow, ding it, Jess. Oh, hello, random. I've thought about making the Master Sword from the Zelda games. I'm not planning on doing it right now, and I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Gary Venter is asking if I actually cosplay or if I only make the props. I have cosplayed, and I want to cosplay more. Generally speaking, I've just made the props. I've always had this, I've always been happy being the guy behind the camera. I've always been happy being art department. It was never a big deal for me to not be, the one in the costume and the one up front. Partly because I don't take care of my physical self enough to be the majority of the characters. which doesn't matter. You can cosplay as anybody you want as long as you want to cosplay it. Go for it. But for me, there's a certain amount of stormtroopers aren't built like a pot-bellied stove, so that's not going to work. And so I
did
don't
dress
do
up
that.
as Darth Vader and went to a party and everyone's like, "Who's the little tiny Darth Vader?"
Right.
And I just didn't even take size into
Okay.
consideration. And I'm tiny. And yes, no, I think scale makes a difference.
Right, yeah. But to do that intentionally as well, like there was a point in time when I was seriously, I used to have long hair where I could actually braid it, longer than yours is right now. And I was really tempted to do a Lara Croft cosplay. I never did, but that didn't bother me because I knew that it was absurd and wrong, right? It isn't wrong, but it is wrong because it's not, obviously it's not right. You know, I'm not trying to actually be Lara Croft, but anyway. So, but I have cosplayed. I've done the Guar cosplay. I've done a full suit Darkness from the movie Legend. I've made my Vacation Thanos. There's a bunch of other little things that I've done recently, and I'm gonna be starting on my next big major cosplay here at the end of the month. So I enjoy it. Usually it's big foam monsters because that's where my brain goes. Melina is saying good night from Germany and Greece. Good night.
Good night. Sweet dreams.
Wow, Luke Davies, that's a big question. Luke Davies is saying hello from Wales, UK, and looking to come to the States for a con post-COVID. So there's planning ahead. And do I have any that I recommend? Interesting. I've been to a few, but I'm not that seasoned of a con guy. Dragon Con definitely was the most impressive and distinct con that I've been to because you don't really go to the con floor. You spend most of the time in the hotels drinking. But that is a cosplay con. That one is the majority of the people there are cosplaying or are there to interact with cosplayers.
So it's a dress-up party.
It's a big dress-up party. And so that was a lot of fun. That's in Atlanta, Georgia. That was a lot of fun. And it's like 5 days long, and it's great. Gosh, any others that I would just definitely recommend immediately? You know, a lot of the cons in the States, the ones I only go to are the ones I can drive to. So I kind of like Northern California con guy, and most of them are still fun. You know, I enjoy the LA Comic Con. I enjoyed going to Fanime. I enjoyed going to Silicon, which is Silicon Valley Comic Con now, or Silicon Valley Con. Trying to think, were any real stinkers? Not really. So one of those things I'm reading the questions like, oh yeah, and then I really kind of stopped to think about it. It's like, well, yeah, I guess Dragon Con, right?
I've never been to a con, so there's that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I more just dress people up. Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, right.
Yeah.
I'm behind the camera, I'm good.
You want to get ready? I will help you get ready. Good at that.
But I will definitely be going to cons again when they open up and when I feel safe about going. Because there is a con opening up, like I talked about earlier, but I'm not 100%.
When Fauci gets his vaccine, I'll get. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. When things are safe again.
When things are safe again.
Yeah, things are crazy.
So I'm just got, we got one of the, it's like a sheet and a half of the pre-made chainmail foam that we got put together. And now I'm just doing the edges because I don't want to get a whole bunch of glue globbed up inside of the chainmail. And I'm gluing it down to a 5mm piece of craft foam. This is just basic craft foam from any craft stores. Nothing, no special brand name on this one.
Yeah, and the upper ones we did the felt, the thick felt, and we stitched it. It's just a different way to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Just trying it, multiple mixed media.
Mixed media.
Mixed media. Because I was sleeping and I was like, you know what? I want to see what it's like out of foam.
Just do the whole thing out of foam, sure. Gonna back it all with vinyl anyway. You're gonna sweat to death underneath it, whether it's just foam or felt.
It's the shoulders. It's going to be over the clamshell anyways. It's not going.
Well, that is, but this is going against on the bicep, isn't it?
You're right. You're right. But he has a sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has the padded.
We did have a pad. Oh, that's right. He's got the padded cotton
Because he
under
actually
tunic thing.
has fairly accurate armor the way it's built because he has the cotton padding, the quilted cotton things that they would have worn under to take the most of the blunt force.
Right.
And then he has the chainmail on leather, and I figured the wool was kind of
Yeah, it works.
right stuff. I don't know. None
Making
of
it
it's
work.
right.
It's fine, making it work. As long as it, as long as it is. What am I trying to say? If you look at it, and you recognize what it is. It's right.
It's a costume.
It's a costume. It does. It really shouldn't matter what you make it out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make it out of real chainmail.
Yeah, totally can.
I'm not going to.
No. Sniper Can 007 again. Odin, I'm wondering what kind of core would be good for the Executioner's sword. I'm not sure which the Executioner's sword is by name. I assume it's a big sword. The cores that I have used for my different swords have been PVC pipe with wood inside of them. So I'll take like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and then I'll take a wooden dowel, and the two don't match up. So I end up wrapping tape on, rings on the wooden dowel, and then maybe some Gorilla Glue in the voids in between, then put it inside. That makes it pretty solid, and it's still fairly lightweight. I've used, I love the golf club shafts. You get the graphite golf club shafts. Those make great swords, but if the Executioner's sword is a larger, oversized sword, then that's not going to be long enough. What I have done, like with Soul Edge behind me, there is a golf club that goes out to the tip, so it gets small because the golf club shafts are tapered, right? But then the back end of it is butted up against, now I can't remember if it's a wooden dowel or if it's PVC. I think it's a wooden dowel. Yeah, it's a wooden dowel. I drilled out the end of the wooden dowel and I shoved the golf club into it. That way it has a very solid core that runs all the way down it, so you can pick it up easily, and it doesn't have any wobble to it. Or bowing. But because the golf club is actually the very pointy tip is all the way out there, then you can set it down on the tip on the con floor and hold it and be able to take pictures with it without destroying the tip of the sword. And that actually worked out really well. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll be doing that more with some of my bigger swords, because being able to
From experience.
Yeah, from experience.
Oh my gosh, how many times you have to actually function versus have it looked pretty and don't breathe on it.
Right. Yeah, I had a lot of projects like that in the start of my channel where it's like, it looks pretty, it looks right, don't breathe on it. Because coming from a video background, coming from taking pictures background, where that was kind of okay. I mean, it's still kind of not, because actors will find all sorts of creative ways to break whatever you give them.
But it's so much fun.
It is. Oh, cool. Jack Smith says, yo, thank you so much, dude. That was really helpful advice. Thank you again. Right on. You're welcome, Jack Smith. I'm glad that whichever piece of that, this is kind of how I shoot my stuff and how I edit my videos, was helpful for you. I'm glad. Where are we at? Oh, we're, okay. Well, we've been on for about an hour and a half. I plan on going for a bit longer. But for anybody who's tuned in, hello, I'm Odin. This is I'm the host of Odin Makes. You probably know that's probably why you clicked this. I'm here with Felicia. We are working on Witcher armor. This is going to be for Halloween, you think? Or is it just, okay.
Well, I just wanted to play with this.
Just wanted to play the chainmail. Very, very cool. So we're just working on making some Witcher armor and trying to watch some of the chat and pull out different things to talk to you guys. So it's a live stream. At the moment, we're planning on being here again next Monday.
Yeah.
At the same time. So it would be California time, Pacific Standard Time is noon to 2. So whatever that translates to for wherever you are, we should be live again next week. So we'll be continuing on with this, probably getting more of the belts done. Okay, Janice has got a good question, which is how will we prime and paint the chainmail? Go for it.
Well, we already we're not priming it. It's already black, and we're using that as our undertone, and we're just dry brushing silver on the top.
Yep. So this is the chainmail directly out of the package.
Untreated.
Untreated. And then this one has just been dry brushed with, it's an acrylic paint, actually. I'm going to drop brand names here. Plaid FX paints, which is a acrylic paint specifically, it's off camera somewhere.
Yeah, no, I don't quite see it.
But Plaid FX paints is specifically formulated to stick to EVA foam. It is made to be a cosplay paint. And it actually works really well. And huge plus for Plaid FX paints. One of the videos I had made about almost a year ago now was for an organization called the League of Hope. And what they do is they dress up in cosplay, typically Disney characters, but there's usually some superheroes, and they go visit children that are in the hospital. And, you know, serious illness children in the hospital. And so I made Anna's frozen sword from Frozen 2 and gave that to Elsa. Anna wasn't there that day. And so they brought that in and to show the kids. The important part of all that relating to the paint, I had painted with Plaid FX paints. You've got a prop you're going to hand to somebody who's severely immunocompromised. You need to be able to sanitize and clean it every time.
That's very important this year.
That's very important this year for everybody. But you know, at this point in time, then that was anyway. The paint held up. It looks just fine. They were wiping it down and cleaning it after every single child that actually held it and was around it, and the paint didn't take any damage from that.
That's awesome.
That's what I thought.
I use hand sanitizer to remove Sharpie off of things all the time.
Right. Well, the alcohol is what will remove the Sharpie. So yeah, isopropyl will do it too.
Yeah.
But sanitizers, yeah. So
Didn't do.
no, she
That's
told me
awesome.
that it looked just as. Who was telling me this? Lauren from League of Hope. That it looked just as good at the end of the day as it did in the beginning, after going through however many hands and however many trips of sanitizing. So that's Plaid FX paints, and why I'm happy with it. What I'm not happy about Plaid FX paints. Let's play both sides here. So it's not just a buy this stuff. The darker colors cover great. The medium colors cover great. I'm able to paint over a black EVA foam with orange, and it takes just fine, and it covers. The lighter colors, silver, white, yellow, you're just going to take 5 coats to get a good solid color. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I know typically white and yellow is harder to cover over other colors.
They're probably not titanium based.
Yeah, they're probably not. Yeah, but it's just it takes a lot to do that light color, to get a good light color, and sometimes it's taken so much you start to actually ruin the finish. Like if you want something really smooth and you're brushing on coat 5, you're not really smooth anymore.
No, you're kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it's still going to be my go-to paint, and I'm still going to recommend it because there's too many big pluses versus the, oh yeah, well, the white doesn't cover as well as it should.
I don't know if that really needs a second coat.
I don't think it does.
Just because his armor's so dark, but if I wanted it to be silvery or sparkly.
You could just hit a little bit of rub and buff, and that would really put some silver on it.
Yeah, but his isn't silvery.
No, it's not.
His is dark and rustic looking, so I think that just a little bit, I know it wasn't very opaque, but
No.
I think it turned out right.
Oh, that's just dry brushing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it works out great.
So not super complicated in treating the foam post making it. And we don't have to seal it or anything.
No.
No?
No, you don't.
So that's about as
Don't-
complicated as painting as we're getting.
Yeah, you don't have to prime it, and you don't have to seal it. So that's a major plus there. There we are. I've got a little bit of glue on the edge of this, so this hopefully isn't completely ruined, but it might
Well,
be.
we weren't really,
Using that part?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
So this, I stuck this down wet. It'll take it a little bit to dry, but you're not running it through the machine just yet, right?
No, we have 3 pieces, and this one's almost there.
Okay.
I think I need about a couple more rows, and I'm there.
Need me to weed some?
Yes, that would be helpful. That would be very helpful.
All right, let's look what's going on over here. Jack Smith again. Oh, he has to go do homework. It was fun talking to you. Well, thank you. It was fun talking to you, Jack Smith. He hopes everyone has an amazing day. Stay safe and healthy along with your loved ones, and I'll see you in the next video. Yes. We'll see you in the next video. Definitely stay safe and stay healthy,
Yes.
which is not necessarily as easy to.
This year's crazy.
Yeah, I just saw a cousin on Facebook just posted that they were positive. I was like, really? All right.
Yeah. Well, Fibonacci's, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ruin Juan's last name. Juan Arcia. Before your YouTube career, what did you do for a living? Well, I made props. Let's see. For many years in many different productions, I was making props or being a cameraman or doing editing or set building, but never in a Hollywood sense. It was always stuff in and around where I was. And so I've actually done that for a very long time. Big highlights for prior to being YouTube. There was a period of time in the late 90s, I worked for a company called Play Incorporated. And one of the things that Play did was created a machine that was able to take standard definition video, because that's what was there. And it had a built-in switcher and a built-in keyer, and you could take live video and stream it out live over the internet. And that was revolutionary at the time.
Live streaming?
Live streaming on 56K dial-up.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, with watching it on your Reel player, if anyone remembers that.
Not your iPhone?
Not your iPhone. No, there was no iPhone. StarTAC was the thing. Yeah, so that was. So I was actually building props and being a face on a computer screen. This is actually when I met Starius. Yeah, that was started in what, 97? So I've been streaming media for quite a while, and that's years before YouTube was around. I remember working at Play, we were talking about YouTube started, and when it was brand new, before Google bought it, they were still allowing people to upload videos and do it all for free. And just knowing the small amount of cost with what we were doing, it's like, how can this possibly be a profitable model? And within a year, Google bought it. And it's like, oh, okay, that's how it's going to be a profitable model. No problem.
Toby. Oh, Bruno's chewing on Toby.
Bruno's chewing on Toby?
Yeah, he was chewing his tail.
Oh, okay. That's why they were growling. So that was one highlight. Otherwise, I was a video editor at PBS. Not the actual national, but the local PBS station here in Sacramento, KVIE. So I was a video editor for them for about almost 5 years. And I worked at Smosh and worked on another television show called Beyond Geek. And when I wasn't doing that, I was, doing any other kind of employment that I could do to make things happen. There was a point in time in the late 80s, early 90s, one of the first big jobs I had that was a lot of fun was I worked at a comic shop here in Sacramento. So I was, I was that guy in the comic shop for, that was like 5 years or 4 years. So those are some of the things I've done before this. So Cantoon is asking a couple of times who's going to wear the armor. I think
Nobody in particular.
Nobody in particular. Nobody in particular. Yeah. This makes the most sense to as what to make because of the amount of chainmail we had. You open up the package, see how big a sheet makes, and then how much is here, and so what can we do? And it's like, well, the Witcher armor makes a lot of sense because we should have. We thought we were, but at this point, I think I'm going to have to order another pack from Ben. Which we thought we were going to have enough chainmail to be able to do not just the pads on the shoulder, but there's like a what the gusset, a corset piece, whatever, on the front and back. But there's uncertainty on if we're going to have enough to get all that done.
Well, this was all our practicing and playing, and I think we destroyed what we
Who
would have used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's going to wear it? Nobody's particular, but I'm sure it'll happen. DA Studios is asking if this is really live. No, it's mostly undead. Or if you want, there is a delay. So between me saying this and you seeing the response, there's a good 30 or 40 second delay because of internets. But no, this is really live.
First.
It has to go to space. Yeah, but no, this is really actually alive, definitely. So that's DA Studios confirming that, yes, this is actually really live. Ben Walker, do I like Star Wars? So Ben, I've seen your name pop up a few times. One thing I want to ask is, are you the Ben Walker that I remember working with? Are you the Ben Walker that I've known for a few years, or are you another Ben Walker with the same great last name as the other artists that I know? Do I like Star Wars? Yeah, I like Star Wars. I was, 6 when Star Wars came out? Star Wars was my frickin' life. Absolutely, I like Star Wars. I love the last season of Clone Wars. Frickin' love the Mandalorian. Totally impressed with the behind the scenes, how they made the Mandalorian work. There were people that waited in line for Star Wars Episode 1, just getting back to the 90s again, in front of the Chinese theater. I still call it Mann's. It's not Mann's or Grumman's Chinese Theater anymore, in LA, right off of Hollywood. And these people lined up in front of the theater to wait because that was the place to go and do it. And some of them were there for 6 weeks, not even knowing for sure if the movie was going to play there or not.
What did they do for a living that they could take 6 weeks to go park in front?
Well, one of the things that they did is they decided it wasn't going to be an actual queue. What it was more like a stand-a-thon or a wait-a-thon. So you would check in and you would check out, and then you were ranked for the final queue by how much time you accumulated.
Jeez.
Yeah, and there were a couple of people that never left. I ended up being 63rd in line, with a good chunk of the low numbers being important people.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it's totally cool. Because I was working with Play Incorporated, we went down with the same technology I talked about with being able to stream video over the internet. We went down there onto the sidewalk. The AT&T came out, hooked up DSL to payphones that were next to the souvenir store right next to the theater. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we were running some sort of goofy live content with cameras off the sidewalk for these people who were in line for Star Wars. There's actually 2 or 3 little documentaries that a couple of people made while we were out there. And so I'm, the back of my head or the camera setup are in these documentaries. Star Wait is one of them. I think Star Warriors is another one that are documentaries that were made by people who were in line. So I waited in line. I got paid to wait in line, but I waited in line for Star Wars The Phantom Menace for, I think, 3.5 weeks. And I talked my superiors into doing that because I drove the equipment down and set it up. And the plan was I was going to drive from Sacramento down to Hollywood and set it all up. That's like a 6-7 hour drive. And then I was going to come right back. And it's like, all right. So I go down and set it all up. And the first night we're making sure things are working. And at 3 in the morning, everyone crawls into their tent or goes home. And all the equipment's just sitting there on the sidewalk. Totally unattended. So I waited until the sun came up, and I knew it was fine and safe to give the president of Play a call. And I went, hey, Paul, guess what? And so immediately, without having any luggage with me, without having any plan to spend any time there more than one night, I had a room in the hotel across the street, and I was in line overnight, every night, for Star Wars, just to be the guy awake and the guy around the equipment. So I was running fan films and I was talking to the internet, and that was a lot of fun, and just all that for Phantom Menace. It was kind of disappointing in a way, but it was a lot of fun to be in line. I'm not going to lie, the wait for the Phantom Menace was more fun than watching the Phantom Menace. And I think my favorite thing that happened during that particular escapade, that thing, it gets close to the time happening. And we've been streaming live for weeks, and people would call in or email or whatever that they've actually set up televisions to watch us do this goofy thing that we're doing, in their offices. And there was a second bank of payphones not far from the tent that we had set up, the little like pop-up shade structure that all the equipment was under. Radio stations from across the nation would start calling in the morning DJs to go mess with those people waiting in line for Star Wars. It's fun. I have no problem with that. It's entertainment, right? And so the phones would start ringing about 5 in the morning, and they would ring until morning DJs were done on West Coast time. And there was one time I remember answering, and they were saying that they wanted to ask trivia questions to the Star Wars people. They wanted to stump the Star Wars geeks, and was I willing to play along? It's like, yeah, sure, it sounds like great fun, no problem. And finally comes around, and I'm going to be on air, and they want to ask me the questions. And of course, they've got the questions tiered. Like the early ones were easy. I don't even remember what they were anymore. But the questions were things like, what does TIE and TIE Fighter stand for? Or what does, something else, I can't remember what it was now, some other thing. Twin ion engine, right? TIE Fighter. So the last one, their stumping question, the number 5 question, which they're trying to bill up as being, this is the one. What was the name of the band in the cantina in Star Wars? What's the name of the band? And it's like, oh, okay, that's Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes. And it was dead air on the other side of the phone. And then I said, unless you're looking at the original series soundtrack, in which case it's only credited as the Cantina Band. Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
I got one that's going to stump them.
It's like, yep, thanks guys, that was fun. Toby and Bruno can. Fire Reloaded asking if I ever considered making any Power Rangers props or making one. Yes, I've considered it. I haven't done it yet. Before COVID changed everything, I was in a position to be able to potentially borrow and cast a power coin so I could actually do something with that, because that was the one element that I couldn't really easily replicate. So when it becomes safe to go hang out with random people again, that project may start up again. I've actually been around her. I know you're sort of wearing a mask. Mine's in my back pocket. But people talk about their bubbles, their spheres, their pods of people. Felicia's practically one of my people. We've been around each other almost, well, at least monthly, but almost weekly, it seems like, this whole time.
Yeah, and we had that little scare where we both got tested.
Yeah, we've both been tested, or both been tested negative at different times too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a very small group of people.
Right.
You made it.
Sweet. Wow. Wojtek, there's no way I'm going to be pronouncing Wojtek correctly, but saying, do I still have all my props, or could I perhaps do a video tour? Yes, but the sad thing is I'm going to need a slightly different camera than the ones I'm using right now. Everything I have is set up specifically to shoot the table. And so the cameras I have are manual focus, they don't zoom, and they have a super shallow focal distance, right? So that's fine, and now we're out of focus. So to do a live tour of the shop where I can kind of like, hey, here's this, and here's all my props, I need an older school camcorder or something that can actually handle that kind of movement to move around. But can I give a tour? Can I show some things? Yeah, and I want to. I haven't got myself set up to do that yet. Do I still have all my props? No. I still have most of them, but the ones I made in my show anyway. Any prop that I made that I was paid to make, I don't have, because that's the way that works. Yeah. But I do still have the majority of them. There's some that I've given to patrons. There's some that I've given to friends. There's the one that I gave away to League of Hope. There's a few that I've lost, but the majority of the ones I still have. And it's interesting to think that I went from doing a every other week show, so I was making 26 props a year, to a weekly show. Okay. So I'm on prop 55, 56 in a row at this point. So yeah, I'm running into a space problem in a hurry. I was creeping up the wall, but there's actually a shelf over there that you can't see that's got, remember when I set up all the Star Wars helmets at the end of the shot? For the end of the clone trooper, the Ahsoka trooper helmet? 4 of those helmets are on a shelf over there now because I didn't have a place to put them. I need to get stuff to go up the wall out of the camera shot over there. I have 16-foot ceilings, so I can go up pretty good, but yeah.
No, stop chewing Toby. Stop it. Thank you. little dog, but
Awesome. Ink Venom says is glad that I made the Bakugo grenade gauntlets because he wants to go for Halloween, and my video will definitely help him make them, which is cool. You're very welcome. That's awesome.
yay for Halloween.
Yay
It's
for
almost done.
Halloween.
2 more, and then you
Two
can
more?
glue,
Oh, cool.
and then I can. Oh, do you want to get the strips for the?
Oh, yeah. I can start cutting some strips.
Final? That's the next thing after we get these ready.
Bruno's the perfect shop dog.
There's a reason I never bring him anywhere.
Move this so I can get. This is more than 18, right? So let's.
I just was cutting strip. Yeah, it's about the same length.
Oh, this wasn't what you.
No, they are. If there's a 2-inch, I still have to cut these out, but we need the
Right.
1-inch strip of the foam to be the center so we could glue it.
Oh, right.
Because we're gonna stitch, but you can't glue this stuff.
Right. Well, you could put contacts about on this end, but
You can put on there.
on this side you can. You can't glue on this side. This
Yeah,
side you can't
I
glue.
wasn't trying to glue.
Okay.
I was trying to glue the inside, not this side, so we wouldn't need the center foam in order to make it function.
No.
Okay, well
But,
then never.
it'll bulk it up if that's what you want. But I didn't mean to confuse you.
No,
It's
it's
just
okay. Let's look at the picture.
with vinyl. This side of vinyl is incredibly difficult to glue and actually have stick and stay.
Yeah.
And that's partly why there's a fabric backing.
Yeah,
Okay. There's also strength. Fabric backing is also strength, but
yeah, because in order to save the sewing machine, I was going to do the stitching, and then I was going to fold it over and glue it
okay.
to the edges
Gotcha.
so that we're not sewing through
Yeah.
this. But technically, the sewing machine has really no problem sewing
Yeah.
through this.
Right. It might
But just to
once
give options.
and once you load it up with glue, that could be weird for the sewing machine too, because you will
Well,
get.
no, I'm not going to glue it first. If I stitch it, which if I do it on the upper arm,
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't glue it.
You wouldn't glue it at all. Well, that'd be
No,
fine.
but for the foam, and I want to glue it,
Mm-hmm.
I was planning on doing the foam on the back, but if I can just glue to the fabric backing,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to add that foam.
Okay. But you just want strips cut.
Yeah, but it's the right width for the strips.
Okay.
So we don't need the foam strips, we only need the vinyl strips.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, and this is the ruler I was using.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna use a metal ruler because I.
Yeah, could you
like
do
I said-
cut with a razor blade?
Yeah, I was gonna cut with a razor blade because I always cut those.
Yeah.
Looks like it says marital turnip 8. Well, turnip is asking, what's the build going to be this week? The build this week will be out on Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Odin Makes. I was joking about this earlier. I've got this from working on so many other productions. I have this ingrained thing that you don't talk about productions that aren't coming out, and so I generally don't. Felicia helped me with it. It's a lot of sewing. It has a little bit of foam in it, and
oh yeah, it has a strip.
yeah, it has a strip. Yeah, it's actually going to be a full cosplay, all at the same time, all at once, not just a prop.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Odin Make a Foam Michael Myers mask. We were actually talking about that. Well, I didn't give the person credit. Sorry. London Moore says Odin Make a Foam Michael Myers mask. This is possible, but honestly, for accuracy and cost versus effort, which doesn't make sense. If you want to make, you want to make, and it's fun to make because it's fun to make. Just buy a Michael Myers mask. I'd rather make a knife that's safe to carry around. Because yeah, that's just kind of the way my brain works. I mean, even within the original movie, it was always a purchased mask. So I'd have no problem with that. Could I make one? Yeah, I could. We talked about it. I've actually got a poll happening right now on my Patreon, for my patrons to vote on what Halloween prop I'm going to make. And I don't just mean Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers Halloween, but it's going to be Halloween because it's October, that type of a thing. So not this week or next week, but the week after that, the third Wednesday is going to be the whatever the poll winner is on my Patreon channel, and I think the top two right now is Ash's Mechanical Hand. I kind of mashed that Mechanical and Ash together from Evil Dead, right? So he's got his gauntlet that he's got, or the Lament configuration, which is the Hellraiser box. Those are the two things that seem to be in the lead. But there's a lot of great suggestions in the comments for that post from my patrons, which is where the Lament configuration comes from. And I'm kind of curious on what's going to end up winning. And I'm going to let that go into the last minute because I don't work that far ahead. I should. You know, a smart person would, you know, a term bankroll, would have videos pre-made that would be ready to go a little more beforehand. But I still need to finish a couple of shots for Wednesday's video, and it's Monday. You know, so I'm getting to less than 48 hours until you guys can see it, and there's shots I haven't got yet. I do it all the time. Jace A. Dewey is asking me if I have any advice on how to make a locking mechanism for the saw cleaver transformation from Bloodborne. See, read that right? Yeah, Bloodborne. Okay, I'm nearsighted, so I got to lean in so I can actually read the screen. You know, I don't know how the locking mechanism works for Bloodborne. So when I first started reading, it's like, oh yeah, I use painter sticks to be able to twist staffs and make things long and take them back apart again. I've got one over here. I'm going to walk off screen for a second. But Odin's spear, Gungnir, has just got a painter's extension pole in the center of it, so I can take this 7-foot spear and knock it down into three-foot sections that'll easily fit in the trunk of a car. But that's not necessarily what you're asking. So I'd probably have to look it up. So I don't think I can answer that accurately for you. I apologize. Juan is asking again if I've ever watched Naruto and did I enjoy it. I've seen a couple of episodes and I did enjoy what I saw, but I never invested in the story fully, so I didn't appreciate the massive arc of the whole thing, but the few that I saw were very entertaining. I currently do not have any props for sale, Sup Israel 11, but it's a good question because that's something that could probably happen, but at the moment, it's not happening. Janice User is asking, if I'm ruined that, USRR User. Janice is asking if I've ever made any props from Star Trek. Yes. Even on my own channel, I've made a few Star Trek props. For a 3D printer review, I made a couple of phasers. So I made the Cricket phaser from the original series Star Trek, which is my favorite Trek. And I made the Next Generation Type 2 blaster. And then I've also made the tridimensional chess set, again, from the original series Star Trek. That's way up in the corner, which would be really hard to get a camera at right now. That was on my channel. And one of the things I did with Play Incorporated going back 23 years, we made a parody Star Trek half-hour sitcom show mashup of Wayne's World, which was contemporary at the time, right? It was, and Star Trek, called The Prime Directive. And I built a full original series set, Enterprise bridge, because it was two guys in a couch that wasn't a captain's chair. It was double wide to make it the captain's couch. I ended up making a med base set, made a Gorn suit, a Magatu suit. I made a really bad foam Horta, but it was a throwaway joke, so it was, you know. So yeah, I've made a few Star Trek props, and I enjoy it. I like it. That's a Cantoon is asking a great question of, is there a prop that is, how to say this right, that is so creative that I adore it every time I see it? So, is there any prop that I'm just in awe of?
Well, your wife is in awe of that one.
My wife is totally in awe of Soul Edge. Yeah, that's
Every
my
time
puppy.
she sees it.
I'm thinking in general. I may not be asking if it was one that I made or if it's just a prop anywhere. I assumed it was going to be a prop anywhere. And wow. You know, there isn't one that just pops right out as being, seems like it should. There's props I've always wanted to make. The props that more than once I've started trying to do, but it never happened, like the headpiece to the Staff of Ra.
Oh yeah, that was really awesome.
You know, I really wanted to do that, and still can. Yeah. Wow. The lack of lunch is getting to me. Okay. Unfortunately, I've got a great answer for this, but it's not what you want to hear. I'm going to massacre this, I bet. Martin Biczynski is asking, how would I make movable eyes for a mask like Deadpool or Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Which is a great question. Okay, so Deadpool, the way the cosplayer, the really expensive cosplayer masks, they have magnetized eyes that go on that change expressions. That's actually what they did in the movie, and if they move in the movie, that's CG. Spider-Man actually has moving eyes. I think there's a little bit of CG in the movie as well, but you can actually do moving eyes for it. And the answer you don't want to hear is, I'd look it up.
Do it in post.
Do it in, no.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's the answer that it's always like, I
yeah.
like to hear. Well, just do it in post.
Just do it in post. No, I hate hearing that
Yeah.
kind of, well, I would say that to Smosh because I didn't want to do something, because I had 24 hours or 48 hours to get something done. But as far as, you want to do a cosplay, you want the moving Spider-Man eyes, I would have to look it up to be able to do it for sure. Shorthand version of it, I would probably have, it would be cable controlled, right? Or string controlled, cable probably, where not exactly bicycle brake cables, but that type of technology where it's running back somewhere else to where the motors can be, or someone else is actually controlling it. Because on film, usually you have a long string of that going to a controller who's got a big piece of plywood with a big 2x4 lever, so they can get the leverage to be able to move this cable that's 25 feet long to make it move that much. And also they can move it a lot up here, and it moves very little, so you get more control. So it would be cable actuated, right? And I know people have done it. There's been 3D print files for making movable Spider-Man eyes, and I know it's doable, but I would have to look it up.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of crafting. You just have to think about
Right.
the challenge. How am I going to fit it? Yeah.
How am I gonna fit? Yeah, how's my head gonna stay inside of it?
How am I going to function? What do I have available? What do I have to order? And am I
Right.
patient enough to wait for it to get here?
Yeah, exactly. I got to do a little tiny con up in Lower Washington State with Doug Jones, who's Lieutenant Saru, who's been in all of Guillermo del Toro's movies, constantly in makeup. He was the Shape in The Shape of Water. He talks about.
I want to be the Shape. That's like the best cast.
Yeah. He talks about being in these monster suits, and in order to have all the different pieces, like Abe Sapien from Hellboy, have all these facial movements on these monsters that he's wearing, he's got these servos with cables or strings. Basically, you use cables because they don't break, right? To make all these pieces move, to make the silicone move. So as an actor on set, what does he hear? That's all he hears because it's on his head.
I'm just imagining Sesame Street, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
You know, all the puppets and all
Yeah.
the blinkings, and how are we going to make these puppets' eyeballs blink?
Right?
You know?
That's exactly it, yeah.
It's this.
It's this. You pull the thing in the middle and it makes the eyes close, yeah. But it was just interesting hearing him talk about how he's doing the lines with somebody else, and depending on how close the scene is, if the other person is improvising, he may not be able to keep up because he can't hear him. So it's like that could be an issue with the Spider-Man eyes, that you want to have these eyes, you want them to move. Depending on where you put the micro servos, you might be giving up hearing. But of course, it's only going to make the noise for as long as the eyes focus. It'll be done.
But you know you're blinking, so you can act
Right.
accordingly.
Act accordingly. But anyway, it was just weird, fun little details with getting to talk to somebody who's lived through it. And he's an awesome guy. Hey, we're getting down to the last few minutes.
Okay, well, we can get this glued and this painted.
Okay.
And then we'd be adding the trim next time.
All right.
Well, it takes time to make
It does. Boos asks, would I ever do a collaboration with William Shakespeare in the future? We've talked about it. So the answer is yes. We have not set anything in stone yet. The biggest thing that came up that Jake had mentioned, which I think is a very valid point, is that we need to come up with something to where his style and my style will work together. And I get it. That's cool. I'm all for that. But will we? Yes.
Is this the silver you use? Where's the silver?
The Platifex silver got moved to the open box behind the camera.
Okay, I'll grab that. And we use the darker of the silver?
We use the brighter of the silver.
The brighter of the silver?
Yeah, so not Samurai Sword, but the other one, which is really hard to read it was this one,
Okay.
which
You have a
is,
pretty dry
hey,
brush.
it's called Chainmail.
All right, which brush did you want? I usually use janky brushes, but you had a pretty one last time.
I did, I just use one of those little wider so I could get it done faster. So all the talking slows down crafting too.
You just dry brush from the bottle?
Yeah,
All right, I'll do that if you want to glue that.
yeah, and you want some paper towel?
Yeah, that probably would be less messy.
Well, it helps for dry brushing because you can get some of
Yeah.
the paint off, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can glue. Yamiyuki 123. Hey Odin, would you make a critter puppet? I like Krites. I'd be happy to make a critter puppet. I haven't done it yet. I actually started making one out of clay in a college project, but I had to cast it. It was just or fire it because I was totally in the wrong class. But yeah, I like critters. I'd be happy to make a Krites puppet.
I do like making puppets.
I'm going to need to focus on
Gluing for 2 seconds.
gluing
I'll
for
read.
2 seconds because if I don't actually do it,
It won't get done.
Nope.
We gotta finish pretty darn soon.
Well, we've been on for a little over 2 hours because we started early because surprise.
Uh-oh.
So what I'm doing here is not what I usually talk about doing on the channel, which is putting on wet contact cement and then just mashing it back into the wet contact cement. That will actually work. It just takes longer than waiting for it to dry and using it properly. But I pulled this one wrong, trying to do it the right way.
I noticed that it was a little wonky, but
Yeah.
that's going to be up in the...
Yeah, the stuff that actually on the edge I didn't worry too much about, but
Yeah. But still, it's
that's why it's not perfect. If you go across the grain, you won't get as much down into it. It's up to
Look
you.
at you knowing what you're doing.
But it's up to you as to how bright you want it to be.
It's about, maybe it's a little brighter than yours, but...
Another question from Juan. How many movies or TV series do I think I've seen so far? A lot. That's actually something I've never tried to count. My dad was an engineer and draftsman by trade when I was a little older, which meant everything he did was in his head.
Put camera 3 on, I'm laughing.
Oh. It's the
was
very top of the
rolling
screen.
around.
Oh, that's cool.
And now he stopped as soon as we put the camera on, but it made me laugh.
So my dad was working in his head, right? All the problem solving, all this stuff was theoretical because he's designing it. It doesn't exist yet. And he has to write it out on paper so someone else can do it. So the only way he could stop working was to go and watch a movie, because then he could totally check out and relax and watch a movie and stop working in his head, and then he could continue to not work for the rest of the night. So early on, we went to the movies a lot as a kid. So how many movies have I seen? A lot. I've seen a lot of late 70s and mid 80s movies in the theater because that's what we did, so Dad would stop working. Yeah, cool.
All done.
All done. And the variation of color is great. And I'm talking, I'm not gluing.
It's okay.
Anybody got a quick question for Felicia? Felicia will be able to pick it out in the middle of the sea of stuff scrolling by.
I know, and then looking past you.
Yeah, right.
She's mad. Who's mad?
Oh, it's the dog probably.
Oh, they're both boys.
Right, and they're not mad, they're just playing.
Yeah. I think you've already asked that one.
There's a lot of repeats because,
Okay.
you know, I will never fault anyone for throwing out a recommendation or suggestion of something to build during a live stream, because I ask for it in every video. But I haven't been reading them aloud because the majority of the comments are requests to build something, and that would end up taking up a lot of screen time, a lot of the stream time for me to not only read them but potentially politely address them and move on. And that's the whole stream would be, hey, let's watch Odin read recommendations for 2 hours. That might work.
I don't know. I want justifications why you're not making this prop right now.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, because well, the reason I'm not making this prop right now is I'm too busy talking about other stuff.
Giving you shit.
You would.
Okay, so trying to read it past you. Felicia,
Sure.
where should we look for your stuff?
That's a great question. Hey, Felicia, we're getting towards the end of our stream. Where can people find your stuff?
Not very easily.
Perfect.
I'm internet shy. And
Are
I
you-
don't really I don't have a social media. I do have an Instagram account.
You have an Instagram account. Do you
I
want to
do
share
work-
that?
I can share that. I think you tagged
Well, I
me.
posted it on Instagram, but I'm not just,
I'm just Ish87. But I'm very internet shy. I mostly work behind the scenes, and I work on projects as art director, production designer, costume, wardrobe, styling. I've done alcohol ad campaigns. I do a lot of freelance work. No, I don't have my own channel. No, I'm not cool like that. It might happen in the future.
yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Depends. Yeah, so you can find me on my Instagram, and it has a lot of behind-the-scenes photos from back in the day, but...
Right. And you said it really quick, it was Ish87, which is _ EESH.
It's
Or-
EESH_87.
There you go. EESH_87.
Yes.
On Instagram. Cool.
On Instagram, yeah. And Toby and Bruno have an Instagram.
Yes, they do.
They have more followers than... I think I actually play on theirs more than mine.
Fulcrum's got a great question, and it's plural. So, what is your guys' dream prop that you'd want to make but would be super, super complicated?
The TARDIS.
Okay.
That's a set, and it's not a prop.
That's that fuzzy thing. Because on the outside, it's a prop. It's a big prop, but it's a prop. You knock it down, load it in a truck, and move it around.
Yeah.
Which you can do with sets, too.
Well, yeah, Barbie box is a prop,
Yeah?
but it's also a set.
There's also a set.
Done that? Yeah, that's kind of...
Right, that's that weird gray line. Once
But you did the screwdriver, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done the screwdriver. So it's not like I haven't done Doctor
Yeah,
Who.
no, I know.
No, I'm totally a Doctor Who fan.
But I don't know what. Because usually, if I get it stuck in my head, it won't leave my head until I've done it, or
Right.
decided why I'm not going to. Am I doing this wrong?
Depends on the look you want. If you want to go with the grain, it'll get very silver very quickly. If you go against the grain, you'll only be hitting the tops and you'll get a more variation of color.
I've
But
been
it-
mixing it up on both, so
That's
and
whatever.
doing the edges darker than the inside.
That's
so
great.
it's easy.
My dream prop. So for many years, I remember talking to my dad about how to make Kanada's motorcycle from Akira, because I really like that bike. As I've gotten older, I've appreciated the fact that it probably has way too low of a center of gravity to actually work as a bike. Again, and the fact that you could build it where you're basically sitting in a bucket seat, slung low in a motorcycle, where the wheels are up higher than your butt.
Yeah, that's possible.
It's possible, but the turning radius would be greatly reduced because the width of the low part of the bike, with it only being a few inches off the ground, you could only tilt so far to be able to turn.
When people are designing these, they're not doing it for practicality.
No,
It's
because
like
it
how
looks good.
Pretty.
Yeah, totally. So there's one. You know, it would be not hard to. It would just be space, time, and effort. It would be not hard to make a shell and make it look like the motorcycle from Akira. It would be very interesting to make one that works. You could do it, especially with electric bikes now, right? As opposed to combustion engines when I was actually able to talk to my dad about it. Yeah. Alrighty. So last question I will go with again from Juan, because I'm getting great questions and happen to be the ones I'm seeing. Do I edit my own videos or do I have someone do it for me? Yes. I have always edited my own videos. And at this point in time, I've trained my wife to edit the videos. So it's still a family thing going on. And she's actually upstairs right now editing Wednesday's video. So yeah, yes to both. There's been plenty of videos. There's the occasion when she can't make it in, then I edit them. But when that started was a year ago, when we decided to go full-time and decided to go a new prop every single week. She stepped in to help get things editing because that gave me the days to get started on the next week's prop. And
It takes time to craft.
it takes time to craft. It
As
does.
you can see, it
Yes.
took us 2 hours just to make some little loopy things
Right.
on a square.
It does. And if we were to do any kind of a massive post-production on this, that would take another day or 2 or 3 to put together a video that was, you know, it'd be one thing to just go through and cut out highlights. You could do that in an evening. But if you wanted to make a video, it would take a bit more time to do. And so chances are, that won't happen with this. I recorded the first one, just realized I never hit record on this one. So this episode never got recorded. But we didn't do any steps that we didn't really cover in the first one. So
Oops.
oops, no big deal.
There's a Toby.
There's a Toby. I stepped on Toby. But we've been on for about 2.5 hours now. I want to say thank you to all of you who've been watching, everyone who's put up with us for the last 140 some odd minutes. We're still working away on the Witcher armor. We're going to be back again next Monday at noon Pacific time, working on the next steps for this. And if you have the inclination or the time, it'd be great if you wanted to join us. Do you have anything you want to add to this? I don't want to just wrap it all up and not let you say anything at all.
I don't know. I don't do this. But hi, internet strangers. Thanks for putting up with me. I know I'm not famous, but hi.
Keep it up, you'll get famous.
The back of my left arm is going to be famous. I always say that because I'm always the back of the head.
Right. Going back to the whole idea, I'm happy being behind the camera. Before I started doing Odin Makes, I never really thought about being a host on anything. It never occurred to me that I was going to be the guy talking to the camera, being on the camera, yeah. And so for people to come up to me and tell me that I'm famous, it's like, I am? I'm just this guy that makes stuff on the internet.
Well, way to go, guy from the internet.
Yeah, thank you. It's a lot of fun. It's a huge ego boost to get recognized. It's really wild. So, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm happy to see you again next week. You can find her at EESH_87 on Instagram. That's Eesh87. I'm Odin, and I'm Odin Makes on Instagram and Facebook and
You have your
YouTube
social media rounded out.
Yeah, I've got it all pretty well rounded out. Twitter still just says Odin Abbott, but I post to Twitter, but I don't really read it. So thank you all, and I'll have a new video with a new build. She's a big part of it in just 2 days on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And otherwise, we'll see you again live Monday next week. Thank you. And there's many ways to figure out how to end a live stream, but this is how Odin ends a live stream.
Bye. Not yet. End. Well, it stayed pretty constant once it